Some people say that if one is fortunate, they are born into a good family. If lucky, they can also earn wealth. But there is one thing in this world that can never be obtained by relying on luck: courage, bravery, true courage. This strength lies hidden within every human being. One simply has to discover it within oneself. And it is with such an indomitable story of courage that Rabbit Proof arrives. The story begins in a small village called Jigalong in Western Australia. The year is 1931. For many generations, the indigenous people have lived here. But for the past 100 years, the white settlers have imposed restrictions on them in their own land. As part of that, a strict law was created, through which the lives and futures of the indigenous people were completely placed under the white administration. A.O. Neville was appointed as the legal guardian of the indigenous people, and he held complete authority to change their lives. The cruelty of this law ran even deeper. Children whose mothers were indigenous and fathers were white, that is, half-caste children, could be forcibly taken away from their families at any time. One such girl was Molly, only 14 years old. She lived with her mother and grandmother. Her father was not around. He worked far away building fences. At that time, a massive fence, thousands of miles long, was being built across Australia to prevent rabbits and other animals from entering the west and destroying crops. For several days, 2 police officers had been watching over Molly's village. Molly lived with her 8-year-old younger sister Daisy and her 10-year-old cousin Gracie, all 3 half-caste. Although the police left after seeing them, news reached A.O. Neville. He learned that 3 half-caste girls were growing up in Jigalong. Immediately, he signed an order to take the 3 girls away from their family. Police arrived and forcibly grabbed the girls. Molly's mother and grandmother tried to resist through tears, but they were helpless before the authorities. The 3 girls were locked in a cage like animals and put on a train taken hundreds of miles away to a place called Moore. At Moore, there was a missionary settlement where half-blood children were trained in domestic and agricultural labor so they could work in white households. The purpose was singular, so that one day they could blend into white society and marry into it. Mr. Neville believed that within 3 generations, the blood of these children would be diluted and they would become completely white. That is why indigenous mothers were forcibly separated from their children. Their emotions and heart-shattering cries held no value. Upon their arrival at the settlement, Mr. Neville examined Molly's skin color. He wanted to see whether there had been any improvement in its shade. Children whose skin was considered slightly fairer were sent to normal schools so they could assimilate more easily into white society. But Molly, Daisy and Gracie were given only domestic work training, following the rules of the settlement. One day, a man is seen returning to the settlement on horseback. He is known as the tracker. His job is to capture children who escape from the settlement. He brings with him a girl who had run away to meet her lover. The girl is dragged into a room, and the treatment she receives afterwards is extremely cruel. The girl was taken inside the room and punished brutally. Molly and her 2 sisters saw everything from a distance. After spending only a few days in this place, Molly's heart broke. She realized it was impossible for her to stay here. She couldn't forget her mother. Even in her sleep, she could hear her mother calling her. Finally, one morning at dawn, she decided that she would escape from here with her 2 sisters. One morning, when all the children at the settlement went to church for prayer, Molly got her chance. She quietly slipped out of the settlement with Daisy and Gracie. They had no idea which direction their home lay or how far it was. But Molly had only one goal. No matter what, she must return home. Even though the distance was thousands of kilometers, her determination remained unshaken. In broad daylight, no one even realized the three girls were missing. But at night, before sleep, when the matron came to check attendance, it was discovered that all three had been missing the entire day. The news was immediately sent to the tracker. The tracker was an expert at finding runaway children. By reading the smallest clues, footprints, broken twigs, torn leaves, he could tell which way the children had gone. Seeing their tracks, he set off into the forest on horseback. Meanwhile, Molly and her sisters kept running. It had been 2 days since they escaped, and the tracker was right behind them. Molly knew the tracker was very clever, so when they reached a riverbank, Molly devised a trick. She hung her sister's bag on a bush to make the tracker think they had gone in that direction. Then, the three of them walked through the river so their footprints would wash away. But the tracker was no less clever. He figured out the trick. Still, the three sisters managed to hide behind thick bushes, so the tracker couldn't see them and went off in another direction. That allowed them to resume their journey. Seeing the three sisters exhausted from hunger, 2 indigenous men approached them. They were carrying hunted meat. Just by looking at the girls' clothes and condition, they understood immediately that they had escaped from a settlement. They informed the girls that they had seen the tracker near the river and warned them that he was extremely skilled. Everyone who had ever escaped had been caught and taken back by him. The indigenous men asked, "Where are you headed?" Molly replied, "Jigalong." They were shocked and told her that Jigalong was hundreds of kilometers from there. The journey was long and difficult. Even then, they helped the sisters by giving them some food wrapped in a bamboo tube and a box of matches. After many days, Molly and her sisters were able to eat a proper meal. Meanwhile, news reached Mr. Neville. 3 girls had escaped from the settlement. The tracker had followed them up to the river, but their footprints were gone after that. At the same time, Molly's mother learned that the 3 girls had escaped. She was overjoyed because she wanted her daughters to return home safely, even though the distance was unimaginably long. Elsewhere, Molly is seen stealing eggs from a chicken coop at a house. Just then, the white woman who owned the house caught her. But surprisingly, she didn't scold Molly. Instead, she gave the 3 sisters food and new clothes. Before they left, she warned her, "Be careful of the boys in this area. They're going out to hunt rabbits." Molly then asked, "Where is the rabbit-proof fence?" The woman pointed toward the east. The moment Molly heard the name of the fence, hope returned to her eyes, because she knew that if they followed the rabbit-proof fence, they would reach Jigalong directly. The 3 sisters began their journey in that direction. Finally, when they reached the fence, Molly's heart filled with joy, because this very fence would lead them home, where their mother waited with tear-filled eyes.
4 days later, news comes that 3 girls have been seen near a village close to the fence. From this, Mr. Neville realizes that they are following the rabbit-proof fence, which means the direction of the fence is the path to their home. He calculates that within a few days, the girls will reach a T-junction. So, he sends a tracker and another man there in advance so that they can catch the girls as soon as they appear and bring them back to the camp. Meanwhile, Molly's youngest sister grows exhausted as they walk. Her feet are cracked and bleeding. She can hardly walk. But Molly does not give up. She lifts the little one onto her shoulders and keeps walking. She says, "Don't think I'll carry you the whole way like this. After 2 days, you'll have to walk on your own." On the way, they see a white man camping in a tent. He is a kind man. He gives the 3 sisters food and asks, "Are you going to the races?" Molly says, "No, we're on our way home." The man says, "The fence you're following runs west." Then Molly realizes they have been going the wrong way. She asks, "Are there more than 1 rabbit-proof fence here?" The man tells her, "Not 2, 3. And to reach the north fence, the way you're going is a long detour. You can save almost 100 miles if you take this shortcut." Following the path the man shows them, the 3 sisters begin their journey again with renewed energy. After a few days, they reach a house. A woman was outside drying clothes. She too was a half-caste, just like Molly. Molly calls out to her. The woman recognizes the three sisters because news of their escape had been printed in the newspapers long ago. She asks in astonishment, "How did you manage to come so far?" Molly says, "We walked." Hearing this, the woman is shocked. She tells them, "I too was once in that camp, but I never had the courage to escape. The camp is 800 miles from here. I can't imagine anyone crossing that distance on foot." She adds, "You can stay here tonight. Leave in the morning." Molly agrees. That night, while the three sisters were asleep, suddenly, a white man enters the house. He didn't know there were children inside. Seeing the three of them, he quickly goes out. Molly gets scared and wants to flee with her sisters, but the woman reassures her, "Don't worry, he won't tell anyone." Molly believes her, but soon they hear the sound of a car. Molly understands people have come to catch them, so the three sisters hide in the bushes behind the house, and Molly cleverly wipes away their footprints. The tracker and others arrive and search everywhere. In the dark, they cannot see any trace and say, "We'll search again in the morning." The next morning, the tracker returns. This time, he noticed marks of leaves being brushed aside and realizes that Molly deliberately erased their footprints. But by then, the three sisters have gone far away. At last, they come back near the rabbit-proof fence and begin walking along it toward home. Meanwhile, Neville devises a strange strategy. He spreads the news everywhere that Gracie's mother is waiting for her in Walloona. Since Gracie's mother is Aboriginal, he believes using her will make it easier to trap the girls. Walking along the fence, the three sisters meet an Aboriginal man. He gives them food and tells Gracie, "Your mother is waiting for you in Walloona. If you take the train, you'll reach quickly." Hearing this, Gracie feels torn. Molly immediately pulls her away. "Come on, he's lying." But Gracie stops. She says, "Maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe my mother really is waiting." Molly tries to convince her. "They want to take you back." But Gracie will not listen anymore. Molly is forced to lift her little sister onto her shoulders and move ahead, while Gracie remains standing.
And to feel that leaving Gracie alone was not right. So she hid Daisy and went back. From a distance, she saw Gracie sitting at the railway station, from where she was supposed to take the train to Walloona. Hiding herself, Molly whistled softly to give her a signal. Gracie saw Molly and started walking toward her. Just then, Neville's man arrived, along with the man who, tempted by money, had lied to Gracie that her mother was waiting for her in Walloona. They caught Gracie again. Molly and Daisy watched helplessly as Gracie was put into the car and taken away. They could do nothing. Now, Molly and Daisy once again began walking toward home. Meanwhile, they never reached the spot where Neville had stationed the tracker, because they had taken the shortcut and saved 100 miles. After waiting several days without the girls appearing, the men realized that Molly had outsmarted them, so they left the place. Neville became extremely frustrated. He wrote to the officer in charge of Jigalong, informing him that Molly and Daisy would return home by the end of the month, and as soon as they did, they must be captured again and sent back to the camp. Meanwhile, Molly and Daisy were completely exhausted. Their feet were cracked, they had no shoes, there was no water anywhere. Every water hole had dried up in the summer. But Molly did not give up. She dug into the mud beneath the dry lake and found water hidden below. She gave some to Daisy and drank some herself. Still, it was impossible to travel so far on water alone. After a short distance, as Molly walked carrying Daisy on her back, she collapsed from exhaustion and fainted. For hours, they lay there like that. Toward dawn, Daisy awoke at the sound of a bird and began calling Molly. Molly opened her eyes and saw a bird flying overhead. Her mother always said, "The spirit birds will protect you." Remembering this, a new strength arose within Molly. She lifted Daisy in her arms and began walking again. Suddenly, in front of her appeared the north fence. If they followed this fence, they would reach Jigalong directly. But without their knowledge, Neville's men were waiting there to catch them. When the girls neared the village, Neville's men went off into the forest to search for them. At that very moment, Molly's mother and grandmother were nearby. Even though the officer had a gun, Molly's mother advanced with a sharp hunting spear. The officer became frightened and backed off. A little farther ahead, they suddenly saw Molly and Daisy standing there. Seeing the two girls alive, the mother and grandmother broke into tears of joy. Molly said, "We couldn't save Gracie. They took her away." The mother and grandmother decided they would not stay in Jigalong anymore, because if Neville's men came again, they would take the girls away. So they took the two children and crossed the bushlands into a distant region. Meanwhile, Neville realized that there were no funds left to continue searching for Molly and Daisy, so he ordered the case to be closed. The journey of Molly and Daisy was unbelievable. 9 weeks. That is 63 days. 2,400 kilometers on foot, barefoot, across harsh desert. 2 young girls walked such a distance. Truly unimaginable. At the end of the story, we see real video footage of the older Molly and Daisy.